Margie, and I have another movie review for you today. Today I'm doing a review of the 1955 film You're Never Too Young. This film starred Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, and Diana Lynn. It was directed by Norman Taurog. Please forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. The basic plot is Jerry Lewis is fleeing from this crook who is after him. So he doesn't have enough money for a fare, so he dresses up in little boy clothes. This movie is a ridiculously similar remake of the movie The Major and the Minor, which was made, I want to say, either in the 30s or the 40s. I know I should know that. I'll put it in the right below me, somewhere around in here. Okay. And this film had Ginger Rogers in it, which I've seen that one too, and that's actually a pretty good film. I got a few notes over here. I know, I started making notes. Isn't that terrible? Okay, so the remake and as I said, the remake and the original were extremely like identical. And the reason for that is the same guy that wrote The Major and the Minor also wrote You're Never Too Young. Obviously, that might make a little bit of sense. I would say this one has more of a comedic twist. Obviously, it's got Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin, who was a huge comedy team back in the 50s. Let's talk performances. Jerry Lewis was in fine form. I thought he was good. This was definitely not one of his best movies. I don't think it was one of his worst. Not his best movie, but worth a watch if you're a Jerry Lewis fan. Dean Martin was his usual self. Again, if you're a Dean Martin fan, I would say you would love this movie. Dean Martin had a couple of songs in this movie. He has a great voice. I think that's great. But I didn't feel like the songs added a single thing, and I thought that they made the movie longer and more draggy. So, yeah, that was kind of a downer. I'm like, can you just X those? Because, great that Dean can sing and that he that he sings and everything, but as for the movie purposes, it was a complete waste of time. It didn't add anything to the plot. It didn't tell me anything new. And since the movie could get a little draggy in places, if they would have X'd those out, it would have been a lot better for the pacing. But Dean Martin fans, you'll love this movie. The supporting cast actually did not blow me away. Average. I mean, there are some supporting casts. I've done a previous review, actually, of this movie. The supporting cast for the 1935 film Top Hat was absolutely outstanding. I mean, they were just fantastic with what they were given. They just did all they could do. Was great. I thought they were great. This supporting cast, not so much. They were just there, kind of. I didn't really feel like they really connected with their the three main people in this movie, which were Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, and Diana Lynn. Which brings us to Diana Lynn. Solid. I felt like almost anybody could have played her role, but her performance was solid. There wasn't really anything lacking, and I don't know, her dialogue was just kind of lackluster, and she didn't have a lot of places to go with her role, so I'm not gonna, criticize her for that. The directing was, classic 50s directing. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I don't really think you can compare. I mean, you can, but you can't compare, like, films probably up until the 70s as far as directing, just because that was such a whole different era of film, like directors, you directed it, great. I mean, like, especially as far as, like, cinematography, the camera angles are so standard, here's his face, here's his they're just, like, so stereotypical. There's not really anything that would really wow you to death, or at least there wasn't in this film. So it was pretty standard directing. There's a few movies like that. If you disagree or you know a movie like that, leave in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. But anyway, so yeah, standard 50s directing. Parents Guide, none. I mean, there is no Parents Guide for this movie. No, I'm kidding. The Parents Guide, I cannot think of a single issue though that would get you. Maybe a little low-cut dress. I mean, if you're looking for something, now there may be a little something, but good grief, this film is pretty much clean as a whistle. It really, really is. I think the kids will enjoy this one because of Jerry Lewis, but it can get a bit draggy, and because it is older, you know, some children don't like to sit through old movies. I don't know, I love old movies. Never Too Young, 1955. This film was made in color. Actually, not surprising, but, you know, some weren't, so I just wanted to let you know that. Jerry Lewis fans, you'll enjoy this. You will. You need to see it. Dean Martin fans, I would say you need to see it. Not their best works for either of them, but, I mean, good grief, if you're a hardcore fan, you want to see everything that your favorite actor or actress is in, right? So, if you guys are fans, you know, I would say, you know, try and go see it. I mean, it's definitely not their worst, and I think you'll enjoy it. Anyway, this was my movie review of the 1955 film, You're Never Too Young. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.